Okay, so now we're going to go over bringing a job in, and we can bring a job in one of two ways. We can do it with a CAD file, or we can manually draw the job in. Whenever applicable, I like to manually draw the job in because it will tell you it closes. You know all your measurements were correct, and it does not take very long. We can also bring in a CAD file and just turn off and on layers we don't need and select points on the layers that we want to lay stuff out on. So we're going to start off by manually drawing in a job, and we're just going to do a simple job here, just to kind of show you the process. It's direction and it's a measurement. So if you're drawing in a house, so I'm going to open up a brand new project here. So I'm going to open up per new project. I'm going to create a project. We're just going to call it test. So we're going to add that project. So you see that project pops up on your screen now. So as you get projects on the screen, your most recent will stay at the top. And if it's a job that you've completed 6 months ago, you can delete it from this screen also. So right now we created tests. So we're going to go into that job and it brings us here. So from here, if we had a CAD file, we could go to the drawings, hit the plus sign, go to add a drawing, and find it in this screen. You can either find it in your email, or we can put a USB stick in here and bring the job in there. But because we're going to manually draw a job, we're going to go into where it says job 1, and everything is based in applications, which is at the top of your screen. So if we go into applications here, we can see we have create, setup total station, calculate, measure, and then layout points and layout lines. So right now we have nothing in here. We want to go ahead and create a job. So if we go into create, we can read down our options here, points, line, segments. Right now we want to enter a plan. So when we go into enter a plan, we have two options. We have create a plan or edit an existing. We want to create a plan. So if we do that, we have to have a starting point. So if we just select 0, 0, 0, that will add a point to the screen. So now it's just a matter of distance and direction. So we can hit our plus or our minus sign to turn the direction we want to go. When we come into distance, if we tap this box, we get our calculator. So let's say we're just going to do a simple job here to just kind of show you how the system works. We're going to do a 15 by 15 box, and we'll do a couple angles on it. So in here, we'll do 15 foot 6. We can type in 15 foot 6 inches, tap OK. There's our line. We can pinch to zoom that in. We hit the blue button in the bottom corner, will make that line active. So once we have our first measurement in, now we could turn. We could, make up another measurement here. We'll go 12 foot. So we'll go 12 foot, okay. There it is, and then we can turn, and it's the same thing on a project. You're going to start at point A, you're going to end at point A. So we're going to come over, I believe we went 15 foot 6 inches on the first measurement. We're going to hit enter, and then we're going to close this box up. We had 12 feet. So 12 feet, okay, enter. So now we get a screen that pops up. It's telling us a point already exists there. That's what we want to see. That means the job closed. All of our measurements were correct all the way around. So we don't need to add a point there. We can just tap close out. There's our, our project. Obviously, a house is going to have more corners than this, but it's the same thing, distance and direction. You're just walking around and drawing the job in. When you're on site, you need to know what you're going to have for control. You always got to start with 2 points. If we were just making this box fit on the ground, we could put 2 stakes in at 15 foot 6 apart and use those as our 2 control points, and then it would know where the rest of the project is. We're just going to pretend that we came out on site, we field verified that it was 2 10-foot offsets. And we're going to say they were off of point 1 and 2. So what I do is I come to point 1, I go distance, we field verified this, so we know this is it. We're going to add a point there, enter. We're going to come over to point 2, hit enter. Now point 5 and 6 are going to be our control points. We have to tell this those are going to be control points. A couple different ways to do it. Personally, I like to just hit my back arrow twice. You see where it says points and 6. We're going to tap that. We're going to come down to 0.5, come to our 3 dots in the edge, and we are going to copy that to a known point. Tap OK. Do the same thing with 0.6. Copy to a known point. Okay. So now when we go back into our job, you can see 0.5 and 6 have bells over them. So we can go ahead, and we've already got some control points set in the ground over here. We'll go ahead and show you how we set this thing up. We're going to go back into total station setup. We're going to set up anywhere. We are going to pick our first control point. So our job, we want it to sit this way. So I'm just going to turn that here. So I'm sitting on control point 5 right now. So I'm going to tell it I'm sitting on control point 5. I'm going to shoot it. It instantly takes that shot. Now it's asking for our second point. We're going to tap our next control point and then walk over there. Okay, so we shot this point here. It's expected 15.6. We measured 15.6 and an eighth, which gives us a difference, you see here, of an eighth of an inch. So if we look towards the bottom of the screen, that means we're going to be accurate to within a 16th of an inch. If you accept a little bit of error, it's not going to change your overalls. It's not going to change your square. It just may rotate the project a little bit. And this project may rotate a 16th of an inch. That's acceptable. So we're going to go ahead, finish setup. Finish setup. You see the rest of our points pop up now, and we can go ahead and lay out. So the green dot you see that says OCC1 on the screen, that is where the total station is set up. So if I come back up into applications, now I want to lay out points, which is what you're going to be doing most of the time. So we can, let's say we want to lay out, zoom it out here, point 1, the first corner of the box that we drew. We drag it down. You can see the 8'7" is in front of me and the 3'3" is to the left, which that's kind of the direction I want to go. So as we're walking, you'll see it's showing where we are on site. So now it's just a matter of kind of getting close to the point, going down, leveling yourself up. Normally I would not be doing this with a bipod. I'd be doing it just by holding the pole. Okay, so you see I'm level and we're within a 16th and an eighth right there. So we don't need to shoot, store, or stake this point. We can mark the point in the dirt. If we're doing a footing, we can just kind of push it in, pound our stake in here. If we're on a footing, we can go ahead and mark it, and we just tap the next point we want to lay out. That's it. This one is done. So from this point, we could walk over and repeat that same process as many times as we need to finish the project at every corner. Another thing we can do is lay out to a line. So let's say between points 1 and 2 here, we have a jump in the footing. And we want to get, a mark up top and down below. We can come back into up top here, applications. We can go to layout a line. So if I tap this line, you see the arrows are pointing from left to right, which means our first measurement is where we're actually sitting at the moment. So if I start to walk away from there, you'll see I got to go left 4 inches. So we'll bring that back, and that just gets you on the line. 3/16 of an inch there, 16th. So we're 2'5" down from that point, but we're on our line, and it'll carry that line where the L is. It'll carry it as far as it can see in either direction. It'll keep you on that line. If you're straightening a super long wall, or if you have jumps, or you just want to get some points in between some corners, you have an egg building 400 foot long, you can go lay out to a line and just get points along that line to make sure you continue straight. We come back into applications up top. So layout points and layout lines, it's pretty simple. Another thing we can do is calculate. So if we go into calculate, and we go into length and area. So it's going to pull our job up. You know, if we want our wall set and we want to pull a tape on the top just to double check our square, we can tap, you know, 0.2 and 4, and it's going to come up here and tell us our distance is 19.7 1/4. That's, and you can tap any 2 points on the project, it'll give you the distance. If we hit clear and we tap the points in order around the job, you know, 2, 1, 4, and 3, it's going to give us how many square foot we have inside this project, which is, you know, kind of handy for figuring out your flat work. If you're a company that does the flat work and walls, you can just tap the corners on the project. It'll tell you how many square foot that project is real quick. Clear. Another thing we have up here in applications is measure. So when I'm training people on jobs, the first day we say we're going to pour the footing, we figure everything out, we get everything laid out. Before I tear the total station down, if we come in to measure, I like to go around the job and add a couple points that's out of everybody's way that I can come back and use as control points. Excavators love to run control points over and offsets over. So this is just a way, first day, you make sure everything's good. You're gonna walk over and add your own control. So let's say I walk over by a fence, I pound a stake in the ground here, I can just hit my check mark. Now we have a point there that we can turn into a control point for future use. So another thing that's nice with this system is using it in elevation mode. So let's say this stake I'm on is a benchmark. We'll call it finished floor 100. So what we can do is we can walk over to our benchmark. We can come up to our applications, go back into setup total station, and now we're going to add an elevation. So if we just go manual, and we're just going to call this 100. If you're, you know, whatever they have on the stake or whatever, you can type that in if it ties into the rest of your plan. So I'm just going to call this point 100. I'm going to shoot it. So now if you look off on the upper left corner of the screen, as I walk around the job, it's going to give me my elevation no matter where I'm walking. So if we're doing site work, back a curb, you know, back a sidewalk, we can stake that out, and then we can also, if they have your elevation marked on the print, we can just go ahead and set all of our elevations real quick also.